Okay, let's just get right into it. What we saw on day 64, well, it was nothing short of remarkable. This was a live, real-time stress test of the entire Plazm thesis. And today, we're going to break down exactly what happened and, more importantly, why it is so significant. But first, you know the drill, our standard disclaimer. This is all for informational and educational purposes. It's definitely not financial advice, so please always do your own research. All right, let's jump straight into the bizarre paradox of day 64. The market price for Plazm, it dropped 16%. But, and this is the crazy part, while that was happening, the base floor price, the fundamental backing of the token, it actually rose by an incredible 23%. It went from 22 cents all the way up to 27 cents. So right away, you have to be asking yourself, how on earth is that possible, right? How can a system's foundation get stronger while its market price is literally falling? The answer, it lies in one really powerful concept. And that concept is anti-fragility. Now, this isn't just about being tough or resilient and bouncing back. No. An anti-fragile system actually uses stress, chaos, and volatility as fuel to become fundamentally stronger. Today was a perfect textbook demonstration of this principle in action. So how did this happen? I mean, what are the mechanics here? Well, it wasn't magic. It was a predictable chain reaction that we're calling the Compression Cascade. Let's walk through how market fear actually triggered a sequence of events that, believe it or not, strengthened the protocol. It's this awesome 5-step process. First, fear in the market drives long-term holders to stake their tokens. Then, the sellers who do sell end up contributing to the token burn mechanism. This 1-2 punch causes the liquid supply to just shrink dramatically, which mechanically, automatically forces the floor price to go up. Let's break down the data for each step. So first, what did the smart money do? Instead of panic selling into volatility, they staked. The amount of staked Plazm jumped by 13.4% in just 24 hours. We're talking from around 66,000 to over 75,000 tokens. That's a huge chunk of the supply getting deliberately locked away from the open market. And the result of that staking, plus the tokens getting burned from sales, well, this is the most crucial part of the whole cascade. The liquid, the immediately sellable supply, it collapsed by an incredible 38.5% in a single day. It shrank from over 5,000 tokens to just over 3,000. This supply shock is the main engine for everything that happened next. And this isn't just a one-day fluke. This cascade has triggered a fundamental transformation in how the token is distributed. The protocol we have today is structurally different and frankly stronger than the one we had just 4 days ago. So, let's look at the before picture. On day 60, before all this volatility kicked in, 56% of the supply was staked, and a relatively small 4% was liquid and just sitting out there ready to be sold. Okay, now fast forward to today, day 64. That staked portion has ballooned to 60% of the total supply, while the liquid portion has shrunk down to just 3%. Now, a 1 percentage point drop might not sound like a lot, but it represents a 25% relative reduction in the sellable supply. That makes the entire protocol fundamentally more stable. But hey, the good news doesn't stop there. While all of this defensive action was happening, another core part of the system was having its best day ever. Let's talk about the yield engine and see how all of this chaos actually generated record profits. Today, the yield engine cranked out over $1,100 in a single day. That's a new all-time record. And why? It's simple, really. Market volatility means more trading. More trading means more fees collected by the protocol's bonds. And more fees mean more yield flowing right back to holders. The system literally thrives on this kind of activity. And what's really critical is that this yield generation was way more than what the protocol was spending on defense. Even as the protocol was defending the price, the underlying USDC pools grew for the 3rd day in a row. This is the proof right here that the yield engine's income is greater than the defense mechanism's outflow. It proves the whole model is sustainable. Okay, so let's put all the pieces together and finally solve that central mystery. How exactly did the floors go up while the price was going down? It all comes down to some very simple but very powerful math. The formula for the floor price is actually super simple. It's just the total value in the liquidity pools divided by the number of liquid tokens. The key is that both of these numbers were changing today. So here's a crucial point. It's about how much each part of that equation changed. The numerator, that's the pool value, it went down by about 12%. Okay? But the denominator, the liquid supply, it absolutely collapsed by a massive 38.5%. And here is the key takeaway. It's basic math. In any fraction, when the bottom number shrinks at a significantly faster rate than the top number, the result has to increase. That is precisely what we saw happen with the floor price today. So what's the final verdict on a day like this? Well, it just reveals this massive gap between what the market is feeling and what the protocol is actually doing. And this chart just captures that divergence perfectly. On one side, you've got market sentiment, which the Fear and Greed Index puts out a low of 23. We're talking extreme fear. But on the other side, you have the protocol's fundamentals, its floors, its staking ratio, its yield engine, all of which are at an all-time high in terms of strength and resilience. Ultimately, what today proved beyond a shadow of a doubt is that the anti-fragile design works. The system took a punch from the market and used that energy to become fundamentally stronger. Sentiment, that's temporary, it's driven by emotion. But the protocol's math? The math is patient. And eventually, the price will follow the fundamentals.